No, I keep saying it. Do you talk to your dad? Do you talk to your dad? Do you talk to your dad? First of all, would you hate me if I did talk to him? B, no. Last time I talked to him was a while ago. Last time I had an actual physical conversation with him was at the funeral. Not going to talk about that because it did not go the way that it could have gone, but it went a lot better than it could have gone. So there it is. It went the way it went.
For 2 years, you followed me down so many rabbit holes, chasing the secrets hidden away in dark places no one thinks to investigate. The closets that families fill to the brim, exploding with mysteries. But now, my life is undergoing major changes. A new country and a new closet to explore. Welcome to Rabbit from the Closet, where the secrets don't stay hidden for long. Okay, I cannot deny, I think I'm having a little bit of depression and a bit of I want to punch someone in the face when it comes to reading all of these chapters. These middle chapters are really hard to get through because we saw all of this unfolding on the show, and we did not know that behind the scenes, Christine was really struggling. And it's difficult to hear all of it. I want to know. I want to hear what happened. I want to know the truth of what I was watching. And it kind of reminds me that so many of these reality TV shows are scripted, or even if they're not scripted, the people that are in them feel the pressure to create a certain presentation to us. And that's definitely what Christine was doing here. But let's get started. We're starting in chapter 19.5, and it is about to get sick. Just absolutely sick what comes next for Christine and Kody. Welcome back to Rabbit from the Closet, where we pull out the hidden truths and secrets that have been locked away for far too long. Today, we're opening a heavy door in Christine Brown's story. Chapters 19.5 through 28 of her book, these pages reveal some of the most shocking confessions yet. As Christine lays bare the painful unraveling of her marriage to Kody Brown, the closet no longer hides whispered doubts or quiet frustrations. Inside of that closet, we find heartbreak, betrayal, and the slow disintegration of a relationship that once promised forever. As we step deeper into these chapters, the rabbit doesn't just tug at secrets. It drags out the raw truth of a love story coming apart at the seams. Okay, so chapter 19.5 is all about the situation in which all of the sister wives and Kody, they decide they need to make some extra money on the side, and Kody is really pushing all of them to get their side hustles going. Kody claims he has side hustles of his own, which I would still like to know what that's all about. I know at some point he started selling guns, but I just think that the wives are hustling a lot harder than Kody Brown is, okay? So in 19.5, one of the side hustles that they've come up with is writing this book. They all write a book together. I went over a couple chapters of the book a long time ago. Maybe I'll go back and go through it again. But in this part of the chapter, Christine talks about how everyone was kind of shocked to see what everyone else had to say in the book because they each met with the ghost writer separately, right? And no one was more shocked than Christine, and probably all of the wives should have been completely shocked that a big part of what Kody had to say about Christine is that he was never attracted to her. Actually, when he first met her, he was absolutely disgusted by her. So at this point, Christine and Kody have been together for 20 plus years, and he's putting into a book for everyone in the world to read, for Christine's children to read, for her parents to read. He's letting everyone know that she's gross, that she was absolutely repulsive to him from day one. Who does that? To me, even if you don't love someone, you don't do that. That's something you do to someone when you want to get back at them for something. It's almost like thou dost protest too much. I don't love you at all, Christine. You're disgusting to me. Oh, so gross. Ugh. You protest too much, Kody. From my point of view, it really sounds like there's something else going on here. To me, what it sounds like is that maybe behind the scenes, little favorite wife Robyn was really quite jealous of Christine. This is what I'm sensing, because why? I mean, Kody could have just said nothing in the book about this situation. And instead, he goes on to make fun of the way that Christine Brown ate nachos. Let me get to it. Christine writes, the sister wives wrote a book together, published in 2012. For the book, Meri, Janelle, Kody, Robyn, and I each talked separately to a writer who then weaved the story of our early years together, as well as Robyn's integration into the family. And Christine tells this story. Before we got married, Meri, Kody, and I got caught in a snowstorm while driving from Salt Lake to Wyoming with a group of people for a retreat at Kody's parents' house. I love seeing his family, and I felt like our bond as friends was growing stronger. So this is a positive memory for Christine, like something that she believes further attracted her towards Kody and this family. And they were in the car for hours, and it was a special trip. And we all need to know what Kody had to say about her in this book. Now, from Christine's point of view, she writes, I was starving because they had been in the car for hours, and we ended up pulling into a gas station. I ate a lot of junk food back then, and chili cheese nachos were my favorite thing. I feel you, Christine. Okay, this is what Kody wrote in the book. The sight of this chubby girl in my car devouring chili cheese nachos for breakfast put the brakes on our relationship. Okay, so this is one of the many things that Kody has said or written about Christine to indicate that she was fat, that she was ugly, that she was disgusting, and he never liked her from the beginning. I mean, once again, this is too much. I mean, number one, he is a jerk for saying and doing all this. He is disgusting. Even if you had some of those feelings early on about someone, once your feelings change towards them, which we have to assume they did if you brought her on as a third wife. I know you're denying that now, but that's on you, Kody. That's on you. Okay. You brought her in as a third wife. Okay. Let's say even then you weren't that into her. You married her for the prestige. Then she proceeded to give you several children, cook meals for you, clean up after you, take care of your family, homeschool your kids. At some point, did you not fall in love with this person at least a little bit, to the point that you wouldn't want to hurt them? And yet still, they're still married. They're 20 years into a relationship. She's moved to Las Vegas to save him from being arrested by the police. And maybe that's where you went wrong, Christine. Maybe that's where you should have let, the popo do their duty. Okay, because she's done all this for him. It's 2012 and the book comes out, and I did not see anything else in the book that looked even remotely as awful as this did. Like, I didn't hear him say shit about Meri or Robyn or Janelle that looked like this. He said it about Christine. Once again, when the wheels in my head start turning, and it takes a lot of coffee to get me there. Right now I'm sort of lagging. When the wheels in my head start turning, I start to think that doesn't make sense. Thou dost protest too much. You hate her too much. You have to hurt her too badly. You are so mean to her you're segregating her from the other women by refusing to give. She's the one wife that doesn't have a diamond chip in her ring. Something is going on. Maybe it's your own frustration or anger towards the fact that she had a lot of power in the AUB, or that she was very charismatic and everyone liked her. And maybe she was the one of all of your wives who really stood up to you in a way of outshining you on the TV show. Maybe that's why you had to say some of this stuff. But I think in the background, it could also be that Robyn had a lot of feelings of jealousy. And we see that Robyn's having these issues with Christine in the background. So here is what Christine writes, basically letting us know that this was devastating for her. Now, it was brought up in one of the seasons, okay? But Christine kind of shrugged it off. But we're going to hear what she has to say here. Christine writes, are you serious? I thought after reading the draft, you were disgusted with me when I ate nachos and you weren't attracted to me? Why did you marry me? This is what you tell the world about your wife in your 40s when you absolutely know how hurtful it would be or should be. In Becoming Sister Wives, that's the name of the book, we found out stuff about each other that we didn't know, and it was brutal. Okay. So one thing that Christine talks about is she didn't know about the really hard struggles that Meri and Janelle had. This gave more details to it. And she said that she felt heartbroken actually opening up and reading it. But one of the hardest parts of all of this for her is that several of her older kids, including Mykelti, read the book. And Mykelti was taken aback by what Kody had to say about her. Christine writes, Mykelti read it and she called me right after. I had no idea Dad felt that way about you, she said. She was so upset. I was too. We had been married for about 18 years when I read the book, and I didn't know Kody had never been attracted to me. I felt so humiliated. The whole world knew almost before I did, and now my kids knew too. On camera, in front of the sister wives, Kody said, I was not attracted to Christine in any kind of physical sense. I will say, my last video got banned for using the F word. I don't know if any of you can still see it because it says like banned in certain states or countries or certain areas or whatever. So I'm going to try to refrain from using it this time. But as far as I'm concerned, Kody can go jump off a bridge. I don't know if that's allowed. YouTube, let me know. But I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that he would do this to anyone. I mean, saying this about anyone is wrong. And especially about a wife or a daughter or someone that you love. It's just totally inappropriate. So getting back to the time they actually talked about this on TV, Christine writes, you can see the hurt on my face, even as I initially tried to make a joke of it. I have to be honest, I didn't see the hurt. I thought you were acting like, oh, it's no big deal. Maybe we made this up as a funny story to tell you guys and we don't care about it. That's really what I felt was portrayed on the show. But now we know that behind the scenes, Christine was like, this is devastating to me. You were not attracted to Christine, the host repeated back. That's an understatement. Kody replied. Jump off a bridge. Janelle's face, Robyn's face, horrified. I tried to smile through it, but it came out as more of a grimace. Oh, Kody, gee, we just never know what he's going to say. I mean, that's beyond we don't know what he's going to say. That is him being intentionally hurtful. Now, he might pretend later like, well, I didn't know. What, was that a bad thing to say? Then why didn't you say it about all your other wives? Why weren't you bringing up, I mean, I saw Kody taking a lot of care with Meri. When Meri literally cheated on him with that woman she met on the internet, he was very careful about what he said on the show. Everyone was. And yet it seems like it's no big deal to him and he has no idea why anyone would be hurt when he says that Christine was disgusting to him from day one. Christine writes, Kody later said he felt like he had to marry me because I was polygamy royalty because of my grandfathers. Had to marry me? Why? Had to marry me because you thought it would make you look good while knowing I would be eternally married to someone who didn't love me. I mean, yeah, that's the point, is there's definitely a narcissism that goes on with Kody Brown. I'm really kind of sickened by the fact that he still gets money from these shows. I really do want the sister wives to end because I think we have seen the end of these relationships. And Kody and Robyn are not interesting people. I don't want to watch them anymore. So I really hope the show is going to fade out. I hope Janelle and Christine get as much money as they can from it. I'm glad that Christine wrote this book so she can make some money from it. I hope Janelle writes some kind of tell the tea book because she deserves it. She deserves to get money from that. I hope they're wildly successful, and then I hope the show ends because what we have been through and watching them, like, the journey is over for me, for sure, especially after what happened to Garrison Brown. That will be addressed towards the end of this entire book. But from my point of view, it's like I can't even watch the episodes anymore because I feel like they kind of glossed over that this life-altering, never going back event happened to one of their children. And they definitely don't address Kody and Robyn's role in pushing Kody away from that specific child. And that is a whole lot of BS. That's where I really want to be able to say the F word on YouTube, but apparently I can't. There's only a few more paragraphs in this chapter, and it's basically just all about how heartbroken Christine was by all of this. Kody had humiliated her, and they were already in a bad place in their relationship. Chapter 20, Kody Brown, Lord of the Rings. Okay, here's where Christine lets us know that regardless of everything that happened with Kody and this book coming out and how hard it was, she was quote unquote in deep. She writes, I was in deep, I loved our kids, and I was building our future financially. I didn't want to tear my family away from stability again. I still dreamed that our eternal marriage would reach the stage where we would all be settled into a happy routine. So we understand this. I can full on understand this. Most people who have lived any kind of life get it. When you have children with someone, it's very hard to pull away from that person. And when you still have some kind of faith or religious belief that you should remain in the marriage, I can understand why it would be undoubtedly hard to try to, and you're doing it on TV where everybody's watching you and they like you and they want to know things about you. They know everything about your life. It would be very hard to leave your family at that point in time. Christine talks about how much she loved watching all of the grandmothers. So Kody's mom, Janelle's mom, Meri's mom, they were all really good friends. They loved each other and they all loved Kody. Yeah, because they don't have to live with them, Christine. Later, we're going to hear from Christine's mom and how she, even though she loves Kody, she never thought he was right for Christine, and she never liked the way that he treated Christine. She writes, we had wonderful days and bad days, but they all started melting together. There were times that she and Kody got along, but true intimacy was never a part of their relationship. If he ever visited their bedroom at all, she wasn't feeling secure. She didn't really enjoy it, and the good times were becoming less and less. Another thing that began to annoy Christine was the rotating schedule with Kody. Sometimes he would show up unexpectedly at someone's house, and a lot of people had trouble with this. It would bring feelings of irritation or rejection, but this was because, get this, you guys, wonderful Kody Brown. He always showed up expecting the house to be clean, the children to be well behaved, and the food that he likes to be made. So that is the only reason, in my opinion, the sense that I'm getting from Christine is that was the problem with Kody showing up out of nowhere, is that you couldn't keep the house the way he wanted. Now, if he showed up out of nowhere and he was just happy to be with you and he had no criticisms towards what's going on in the house, I'm sure it would have been fine for the wives. But because of Kody's expectations, it was impossible to have him just show up and put so much stress and irritation on everyone. Christine writes, that could bring feelings of irritation or rejection because getting ready for Kody was a production and he was never part of that production. He didn't help with meals or the housework. So our producers suggested that we start to see a family therapist. So even the producers are seeing that there's some major problems going on here. The producers are stepping in. They recommend that everyone sees a family therapist. They probably also thought that will make for some really good TV. And they were excited to film all of it. Now, Christine does say that therapy did help her. And this is where we get into the information about the rings. So Christine says the rings have been a major issue publicly on social media. She says she doesn't really care that much about what happened with all of their rings, but she finds it interesting that all of her fans are constantly asking, when did you get your ring? Why did Robyn get this ring? What's going on? And she spends a lot of time explaining things that have happened with the rings. For example, Meri got Kody a wedding band when they got married, but then later Kody melted down that band and put a little bit of it, I guess he took the metal and somehow they were able to put a little bit of it in each wife's ring. But he didn't tell Meri, he didn't ask her, he just did it. And it wasn't until years later that he mentioned that that's what he put in each wife's ring. And Meri was like, where is the ring that I gave you? And it was very hurtful for Meri. Christine writes, I was furious. Why would you do something like that? He felt frustrated that Meri had so much ownership of him. First wife, legal marriage, but good Lord, talk to her. Then a few months after he met Robyn, he started wearing another ring, some sort of signet ring. What's that ring? I asked. Oh, Robyn gave it to me. He said, you're not even married yet, I said, and you're wearing a ring from Robyn. So there's just a lot of weird stuff going on. I mean, it all goes back to what we've heard already. Kody was highly invested in the relationship with Robyn, and he was not as invested with the other wives. Okay, this is also kind of funny. During therapy was when, I just find it hilarious, Christine finally admitted to Kody that she had chucked the ring he gave her with no diamond chip into a field. And the therapist asked her, like, why did you do that? And the therapist is like, that probably wasn't the best idea. That's not the way to handle your feelings, whatever. And, Christine's like, I think I was legitimately angry. Where's my diamond chip, Kody? She also mentions that once they were in Vegas and they had a little bit more money, all of the 4 wives went in together and got Kody a special ring that was supposed to represent all 4 of them that he wore. And then I'm sorry. And then, of course, okay, so they all got 1 ring for Kody. And then, of course, Meri and Robyn got a ring together. Okay, of course, when it comes to the ring saga, Meri and Robyn have a ring together. Okay. I find this interesting because I didn't know this. Okay, I'm going to read directly to you what Christine has to say. Then, when Robyn started My Sister Wife's Closet, her jewelry company, Kody designed this is just so silly. Kody designed a ring to sell, but it was crazy expensive. Dude, I remember thinking, no one can afford a ring like that. That's like epitomizes who Kody is. No one can afford a ring like that, Kody. No one can afford you. You're so annoying. Nobody wants you. You think you're worth a lot more money than you're worth. Just like you thought this ring was worth a lot more money. Okay. Dude, I remember thinking, no one can afford a ring like that. He designed it with a sapphire. I'm sorry. I don't know why, just something about this whole ring situation is hilarious to me. Okay, calm down, Katie. They can't even understand what you're saying at this point. Kody, Meri and Robyn had a ring together. Calm down. All right. Christine writes, he designed it with a sapphire on the inside of the band, so you couldn't see it. Let me read that to you again. Kody designed this ring with a sapphire on the inside of the band, so you can't see it. To me, that meant he saw himself as having a secret life that was so special to him, only he could know about it. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt it. I think he's hanging out in a lot of places you're not aware of. It reminds me of... There's this song that came out where it was like, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. That's Kody. There's somebody bringing the boys to the yard, and it's not a female, is what I have to say to you, Christine. Okay, so he designed this ring and had a sapphire on the inside. Christine goes on to think that this has to do with him having a secret life. He began wearing the ring he designed with Robyn. So he took the ring that everyone else had gotten him and stopped wearing that, and he wore this ring with a sapphire on the inside. And then she writes, Kody Brown, Lord of the Rings. Yeah. It's so funny to me. Okay, that's the end of chapter 20. Chapter 21, just wait for the credits. Okay, in the beginning of this chapter, Christine is really dedicated to talking about how what made her feel very good about herself is her skills as a mother, and that was what was most important to her. She said she felt like she was a really good mom. She made mistakes, yes, but she did everything she could to always be there for her kids. She writes, as I realized from watching the show that I could be a better listener for my kids, my dad told me a story. She goes on to talk about how her dad relates to her that when she was little, she asked him to come like after work and he was so tired, come watch her swing on the swings. And he relates to her like that's one of his best memories because he was exhausted and there was a moment that he was just gonna walk away and be like, I'm too tired, I can't do it right now. But then seeing her joy on the swing meant the world to him. And this goes back to, I don't know if you guys remember, like in the very first chapter or the prologue, Christine talks about swinging on the swing with a yellow towel on her head because she hadn't grown much hair. And this is essentially what her dad was witnessing. And he says to her, like, sometimes you just have to get up and do it for your kids. And Christine really tries to take that to heart. She tries to become a better listener for her kids. And I think we saw her doing a really good job of being a mom. Christine also devoted herself to learning everyone's love languages, especially the love languages of her kids. She talks about some really beautiful things here. Like some kids would like gifts, so she would get it for them. She talks about really making an effort to never require like the kids to come over. They have to do chores and make everything perfect and clean the house. She kept a minimal level of cleanliness, and she did not expect the kids to just constantly be at work for her. She wanted the teenagers to feel some freedom. She continued to go forward with having some basic rules in the house, but overall she considered herself like more of the fun mom, and that meant a lot to her. Once a month, Christine took all of her kids out on a date. With 6 kids, that may not seem like much, but they remember those nights when they had me to themselves. I'm definitely going to start doing that. And she says, I remember it was Peyton's night, but he didn't want to go anywhere. He wanted to stay home and watch a movie. We popped popcorn and snuggled up on my bed. One of the other kids knocked on the door and asked if they could come in. No, sweetie, it's my date with Peyton, I called out. He glowed. Check. I thought, he'll remember this. She does go on to say that there was a period of time where she and Peyton didn't get along very well. 14 to 16 was hard for Peyton. They were in Vegas, and Christine and everyone noticed that Kody had gone from being an incredible dad to basically being a disappearing act for Peyton. And Christine really wanted to find a way to connect with him, and she talks about how she started playing, some sort of Madden game with him. And the two of them became really good friends over it, and it was a great way for them to connect. Chapter 22, I stopped eating my emotions. So this chapter is all about Christine's journey towards better health. You can hear the rain. The rain is coming. It's coming in. She realized that she was giving everything to her kids and trying to give what she could to Kody and the sister wives, but not taking care of herself. Now, in this chapter, I'm not that interested in it because, she's talking about her motivation. She actually says that Janelle motivated her a lot with Janelle's own, I don't give a shit attitude and just kind of going out and working out in gyms and working out on the road and not caring what she looked like. And Janelle motivated her. But the thing that really stood out for me in this book is that Christine writes at one point, Kody spent so little time with us that Peyton began referring to himself as the man of the house. He was my protector, still is, but we had to talk about why mom still made the decisions. So this goes back to some of the issues they were having when Peyton was 14 to 16. Dad's not around. He's readjusting Peyton is readjusting what he feels is his role within the family, and he's starting to feel maybe a burden, a responsibility, even like a frustration towards his parents, that Kody is not showing up for not only him, but his siblings as well. I thought this part of this chapter was really interesting. Christine says, because we were on a reality show, we also had to watch out for people pretending to be friends because they thought they could become famous through us. I learned how to filter. In Vegas, Christine opened up to a wider range of friends. She started drinking alcoholic beverages outside of when they would go to LA, and she would get something to drink after they did a press conference. At this point in time, she started to notice that after they were filming, she would often come home and start to think, gosh, I need a beer. I need it. And she says need is the right word. I needed something to take the edge off the day so I could be a good mom. I found that if I drank just a little, just one bottle of beer or cider, I could make dinner, have a great conversation, and help the kids with their homework. It wasn't a lot, but it was a crutch and was something I would have to deal with. Publicly, Christine was continuing to deal with a lot of humiliation and negative comments and criticism from the outside world. She writes, as the constant rejection continued outside my window, and as I worked to get through the humiliation of being called the chubby nacho girl, I went through some tough body image and self-esteem issues. Okay? So she talks about how she's gained weight and she wants to get more healthy. She worked with Janelle for a while and then ended up getting her own trainer. She started eating a better diet and taking better care of herself. And at the end of this chapter, she writes, I thought because I felt so great that Kody and I would get together. I looked better and my confidence was high. I felt happier, which meant I put less pressure on Kody. Every aspect of my life got better. So I thought my relationship would too. Spoiler alert, it didn't get any better. And I don't think there's anything Christine could have done to make it better. Kody was set against her. And I don't know exactly why. I do think that Christine matched him in so many ways. She was smart enough. She was charismatic enough. She was, beautiful. And I think he kind of saw her. I mean, right now she is the star of that show, 110%. And I sort of wonder if that wasn't part of it. Like, he wants to be the star of the show. He wants to be the star of his life. He doesn't want anybody in his family outshining him. And when I look at that family and those wives, I mean, I really think Christine shines. And maybe that was a huge problem for him. Okay, chapter 23. You're really going to do that? So she says the relationship didn't get better. Okay? One issue that Christine talks about here, which I don't really understand, and I guess it was addressed somewhat on the show, but I don't remember watching these episodes. Basically, Kody had a high school classmate named Ken. Ken was part of the LDS church. And when Kody decided to convert to polygamy and he married multiple wives, Ken told Kody that he could not be around him anymore. This was the wrong thing to do. He disagreed with his lifestyle and he couldn't be around him anymore unless he chose to bring one wife with him and rejoin the LDS church. They had been best friends, and it was, I guess, devastating to Kody to lose this friendship, or I don't know, it's just part of his whole presentation. When you're dealing with someone like Kody, does he really care about a relationship? Any relationship? Probably not. But Kody, later in life, wanted to patch up this relationship with Ken. And he starts calling Ken. They're talking back and forth. And Ken is saying, like, I'm sorry for back in the day when I said I couldn't be around you. Like, if you want to hang out, I have a boat. So now Ken has a boat. So I'm sure Cody's like, oh, I got to get in with him. If you want to come and hang out on my boat, you can bring your family. Christine talks about in this chapter how one of the things that really bothered her about this is, like, if Kody was going to leave and go back to the LDS church, she realized he would just take Robyn. She did not like how Ken was essentially shitting all over their lifestyle. And when Kody started talking about how they could all go together and start hanging out with Ken again, Christine was like, she pulled back the brakes on that car and she was like, why? Why would we do that? I don't want to do that. How dare you think about getting back with someone who essentially said that we were living in sin, that you should take one wife and come back to the LDS church? Christine writes, we'd seen him at a high school reunion, and Ken told Kody that finding out Kody was going to be a polygamist bring a lot of friction. I just thought he was stupid. I side-eyed him. Meri side-eyed him. He kept going. It made no sense to me how he could do such a thing. Okay, so Ken in front of the wives was being like, this is stupid, and Kody made a wrong decision. So the wives are kind of like, we don't want to hang out with Ken. Kody is very much like, but that's my best friend. I haven't seen him in like 40 years, but we're best friends, and he has a boat. Okay, Kody says, well, listen, he's always invited me to go boating. So that's all he cares about. At some point, they're all going on a trip together, and Kody is basically saying that he is going to veer off course and go visit Ken and get on his boat. Christine's very annoyed with this. It's just another example of how Kody doesn't give a... let me not say the F word. Kody doesn't give a banana about what's going on with Christine. He doesn't care about her feelings. He really doesn't care about any of the other sister wives' feelings. He only cares about himself. During some situation where they were filming for the show, they talk about this. And again, Kody says that they're going to go try to hang out with Ken, because even though they've tried in the past, they've never made it. And he literally says in front of the cameras that he's going to have to pull Christine aside and talk to her about it. And this was very embarrassing for Christine. And when he pulled her aside, he said that she was having erratic behavior. Some people refer to it as PMS. And I don't know what's going on. Way to go, Kody. And he essentially accused her of being hysterical, like something that people accuse women of in the 1800s. All right, I would love to keep going here, but the rain is settling in. It'll be here for a couple of hours, so I'm going to stop here and I'll pick up with our chapter tomorrow. That's where we'll pause for today, right in the middle of Christine's journey. We'll pick things back up tomorrow with chapter 24 after the rain lets up, which honestly feels like the perfect excuse for a good nap in the meantime. So rest up, recharge, and then meet me back here as we pull more secrets out of the closet together.